Especially to our dignitaries, members from other institutions. We have bodies here from Central East, Maplehurst, Toronto South showed up. If there's any other institution that I missed, I apologize, but thanks for coming and appreciate it. When we speak about privatization in prisons, there's virtually no Canadian statistics. Most stats and information comes from the US. So doing some research, there are a number of prison companies that provide these services. One of the bigger ones is the Corrections Corporation of America. In the last 2 decades, they have seen a profit of 500%. The entire US prison industry as a whole saw an increase of $5 billion in revenue. The major stock investors in the US now view the prison system there as lucrative and highly profitable investments. However, profits come at a cost, and that's a human cost. In 2016, the U.S. Department of Justice asserted that private prisons are less safe, less secure, less rehabilitative, but they are more punitive. Any researcher can tell you that punishment alone does not deter crime or reduce recidivism. We need to have an element of rehabilitation. The main argument for privatizing prisons is that they are cost-effective, that they're cheaper. However, again, the United States survey, an evaluation of 24 separate U.S. studies, revealed that, at best, results on cost effectiveness are inconclusive, and at worst, there is no difference in cost. A study by the U.S. Bureau of Prisons found that the cost-saving promises made by private prisons several decades ago simply have never materialized. Further studies have shown that, among other things, staffing levels, quality and quantity of training are significantly lower in private prisons as opposed to publicly run facilities. Our current staffing levels and training levels are already dangerously low, as confirmed by many media reports, the Ombudsman's recent report, and Mr. Saper's recent report. I don't think we need to take any further steps backwards. Which brings us to Central North Correctional Centre. Central North Correctional Centre was opened in 2001, and it was the first privately run prison in Canada. In 2003, a twin institution was constructed and opened in Lindsay, Central East Correctional Centre. So Central North, the privately run facility at the time, actually had a 2-year head start. At the 5-year mark, around 2006, an independent assessment was done comparing both institutions, the privately run facility and the publicly run facility in Lindsay, Central East. In all areas, security, programming, recidivism, health, community impact, the privately run facility, Central North, scored much lower. And at that point, the government of the day decided to assume public control over this institution once more. Private prison essentially places a dollar amount on a person's head. A person becomes a symbol of profit. It is a complete disregard for humanity. We need investment in crime prevention strategies on the street to prevent people from being incarcerated in the first place. And then we also need investment within the institutions and within probation and parole to ensure that the best dollar is spent so that when someone is incarcerated, they have a half-decent chance of being successful. We need a commitment from not only our current government, but future governments to resist the allure of private prisons and place a suspension on any current and future discussions on privatization. Thank you very much for your time.